Hello, today's video is one that I've had for a long time, and I was ready to post it like a month ago, but I kind of forgot to do it, and I never really had the time to finish it, so here it is. And this video is about the absolute zero and how you can actually use it in Chimps mode to get black borders. So this footage right here is some footage of a run that I did with the absolute zero and primary expertise strategy that I will be showing you in this video on firing range chimps, and I ended up finishing it with $78,000 left over, so it really is quite powerful. You can use it to black border most of the advanced maps and blow with ease, and today I'm going to show you how to do it. Overall, when it comes to the maps that you can do with it, generally it comes down to if you can use the spiked balls properly. I did not do it in this run because I did do a little bit of some advanced timing, so I did not need the spike balls. But if you're doing it, I definitely recommend having them, and we'll go over the actual examples of proper runs later on where I do get them. But basically, if you can use the spike balls effectively, it's actually really easy, and a majority of the advanced maps allow you to do it. Some don't, like geared, and I have posted runs on my channel where I use the strategy on geared and #ouch. Those are quite a bit harder, so I would not recommend on those maps, but you can effectively do this on any of the maps, and it's actually really easy. You just have to jam the buttons. There's no specific timing if you get all of the towers down, and you'll have an absolute breeze with it. With that, the actual recordings of the proper runs that I did will come up, and I will walk you through how to do that on two maps. The first one will be Peninsula, and the second one will be on Shoots, so some fairly difficult maps for many players, but this strategy is going to make it very easy. Alright, so here's the first one, and this one is on Peninsula. I'm doing a pretty standard start for Peninsula. There's a little bit of micro at the start, just because the way that the map is set up. You have to change around the targetings with the sub and the dart. But on easier maps, you don't have to do that. You can just do a triple dart start or dart and sub start, and it will be fine. Next, I just get some stuff so we can actually survive the early game. And if this will basically happen if you're doing like a bit of a tougher advanced map like this one, you might have to get a little bit more in the early game to finish it. But on Shoots, we'll look at kind of something that you would see more commonly. Now for the heroes, if you're doing on advanced maps, I would recommend either Sai or Etienne because they're really good with the cleanup, and you do need a little bit more cleanup if you're doing on the advanced maps because the maps are shorter. These towers work better on the advanced maps because you get more from the extra XP leveling and you can get the better levels earlier. So that's why I chose Etienne on this one, although Sai would work very well. On intermediate maps and lower, it really does not matter. You can still do Sai and Etienne, but pretty much any hero will work as long as it's a pretty standardly easy one, with some exceptions like Rake, Shoots, and Bazaar. I got a ninja to help clean up some of the early game and make that a little bit easier. Now I'm going to go for a spike factory. You can do round 40 with the spike factory. You can also purchase some other upgrades to make it a little bit easier. Doing this early on this map is actually kind of a little awkward. I wish I showed an example of something else where it's better. And on round 36 there, great timing. It completely misses the first wave. So using your timing on this map would definitely be a little bit better. But again, this is kind of one of the trickier examples for that. So most of the time you're going to have an easier time. Then we can get the spalls right there, and it cleans up the later half. We get Etienne's upgrade, which is nice. And then we can alch buff this, and the spike factory will eat up around 40, which is very nice. You can use the ability just to make sure. And there, that mob is down. I did not have the alch buff actually up because I had to spend a little bit of money beating the early game. But if you do have the alch buff on the spike factory, it will definitely make round 40 much easier. Next, you would usually have your bouncing bullets up by round 43, but I did not, so I used my ability to clean up. I had a few spalls left there, so we did have a little bit of wiggle room on that round, but we ended up getting it. And then I'm going for my elite sniper. So for the elite sniper, the better crosspath is 052 because you can alch buff it and get the shrapnel buff. And that's what I did go for this one. But if you're doing the strategy, it's actually better to get a 250, which is a mistake in this run. It will hurt me a little bit later on, but with the 250, you are able to pop the frozen balloons because the ice monkey will freeze the balloon. So I do that in later runs, like on the runs that I posted on my channel more recently on the harder maps. I will get that. So just keep that in mind. That was a little bit of a mistake on my end, and it will hurt us a little bit, but it worked out well anyways. So if you get the sniper on time, you will be on pace to get the elite sniper, which is very strong. It will make a lot of the big ceramic rounds pretty easy, especially if you get them alch buffed. And then we can later get the May mob 420, and that will allow the elite sniper to go much further. We can use our UCAV here in the mid game if there are a little bit of harder rounds, and if you are on an easier map or with a different hero, you also are pretty much free to use that ability. So there we go, we got the elite sniper. It was a little bit early, but that's all right. And now we can work on the main mob, and that carries us very far, especially if you use your UCAV ability with it too. Before I get the main mob, I will UCAV that BFB there, because it's a little tough without the main mob. But once we get it, all the mobs until like around 82 or so are easy, and by that time we will definitely have enough money to buy our primary expertise and our ice tower. I'm not joking when I say the elite sniper and main mob can really carry. They really do it, and they do it well. So we're all the way out here with like $40,000 left over. So I just spend it. We get the primary expertise. The cross path depends on what you need, as always. But because I have water, I end up going for the discounts because I can just get a decamo sub there. Or sometimes you don't even need it at all. But we get the ice monkey, and as you can see, the sniper is getting cock blocked, so it is hurting us a little bit, and that is again my mistake, but we end up keep going through because it does not really matter. I'll save up for the ice monkey, and then we'll get the ability, and it comes down really fast every time you use the absolute zero. It's very good. Also, another mistake that I made here, this was a pretty early on run, so it's not very good, so there are a few mistakes. But another one is that I did get the wrong ice crosspath. It's better to get the 250 so that you can get the permafrost effect, which is a bit better. I unfortunately forgot to get that, and that was the other mistake I also made on ouch too, which was a little unfortunate, so that was a bit harder than it should be, but that's fine. After we get that, we can basically spam the ability if we need to. That will slow everything down, and with the primary expertise, that's a really good combo because the primary expertise cleans up and it buffs the attack speed cooldown. And then for some extra support, we get the other spall just to help clean up a little bit more. And then when we need it, we can pop the UCAV ability, like so. That one might have been a little late, but it worked anyway, so let's keep going. We will get the permanent UCAV, which will help a lot soon, but right now we keep on going through. I do get some more support towers to help out with these mobs, like this mob press here, very nice, and then I'll get a mob glue later on. And then after that, we'll need to start thinking about round 100, because as you can see, all of these towers are really bad at dealing with round 100. So you can do spike storms, you can do first strikes if you have the option for it, or if you can, I would highly recommend doing this, saving up all the way for a mob eliminator, because it will destroy round 100 and help out on the other rounds coming up to it as well. In this run, I did go for some first strikes because I did not have the money to go for the mob eliminator, but using these abilities and all with the support and the synergy with the primary expertise and the absolute zero, round 98 is absolutely crushed. Some balloons do get a little far, but UCAV and the spike balls just clean it right up, and those ZOMGs are being held back with the Moab presses and the May Moab with Elite Sniper. So look at that, it just gets wrecked. It's very nice. We do use the ability to strategically stun the DDTs there, and then we get the Spike Storm, and we'll time first strike on this one. Usually, if it's an easier map, you don't have to time first strike, but for this one, I did too, so I use my little trick for timing first strike perfectly every time, pop the ability at the right spot, and bam, there we have it. And that is Peninsula Chimps with the absolute zero and primary expertise, and now we're going to be doing shoots. So for shoots, I ended up playing a little bit safer, and because I'm not restricted on money like on the harder map like Peninsula Chimps, I ended up going for a little bit of an easier sub-alc early game. You can do this on all the other easier maps too as well, so if you're on a bit of an easier map, you can definitely cheap out and do something like Ninja Alc or sub-alc just to make this early game a little bit easier, because you don't have to have the extra money for support in the late game. So we do end up doing that. It's pretty typical start for shoots, so I kind of will skip through it. Alright, so get our sub-alc up, and then I'm going to be getting some discount villages, because if we can get them, it's definitely worth it to get them. 2 of them work out well. In the Peninsula Chimps example, I could only get 1 because space, but getting that 1 was really worth it. So we get the villages. Round 40 is pretty easy with the sub-alc, which is nice, and then I'll be working on the Elite Sniper right now. And let's go straight for it. After figuring out the best places for the villages, I end up picking a spot and we get the elite sniper. Again, I make that mistake with the wrong cross path, so that sniper will get blocked by the ice a little later on, but that's alright because the strategy is actually pretty good, so it works out anyways. And that is that. I will see you when we get it. Alright, this mid-game was pretty easy. The extended length for this map makes it a bit easier than Peninsula Chimps, and we get it just fine. Then I go for the maid mob. We still have the ability on Etienne available if we want to use it. I did not use it, but you're all up to use it. If you have to, we can get the main mob, and then we'll be set to go straight for it. Uh, with this combo, you'll go very far again, so you don't have to worry about doing anything in the mid game. You can keep an eye if you want to, but usually you can trust me saying that this combo will basically go straight through it unless your map is super short or it has a bunch of splits in it. Alright, so there we got the primary expertise on round 78. Very, very good. And now we can go for the absolute 0, and that will get us going right into the 90s, and then we can get some support and some stuff to beat round 100, and that will be that. So I did get absolute 0, and I feel like it was about around here when I realized that getting the cross path for elite sniper that I got kind of messes things up. So I did get MIB. The only thing that the MIB helps with in this case is Etienne hitting like zebras and DDTs without the ability, which doesn't do much, and the elite sniper being able to hit the ceramics, which does do a lot. So I do get the MIB. It doesn't really do anything else. So if you got the cross path that I do recommend for this strategy, you don't have to get that, and you can get some more support like usual. I get the mob blue. I get some mob presses. For the safety with the cleanup, you definitely can get a set of spalls on each side, which help a lot. I don't do that because I'm a little bit low on money from having to purchase that MIB. But anyways, I continue on, and I do get first strikes, 2 first strikes this time, to make the last rounds very easy, and that helps a lot if you can afford it, and I was able to. So I did get that, and it made the late game very easy. Again, you don't really have to time the abilities much if you're on an easier map like this. You just have to use them, and they clean up. Just spam the ice ability. The cooldown is very short, so you can just do the ice ability after ice ability after ice ability, and it's a really great stun and great support. It slows down all the ceramics and stuns the mobs, so it's going to clean up very well. I get the first strike, and then I'll get a second one later, and that will clean everything up very well. Enjoy the rest of this run. Like last time on Peninsula Chimps, the round 98 is very satisfying. The mobs are not moving very fast, and they just get beat up, which is very cool. Round 99, again, just use that ice ability, and those DDTs will not be moving too. In round 100, we just have to time that first strike, and it's very clean. I do end this one off with a bit of extra catch, so again, that's where having the spalls on each side for that cleanup safety is very good, and that will win. Shoots Chimps, Blackwater with the absolute zero strategy. So let me know if you have tried this and how did it go. This is definitely a very fun strategy that I like using. Mashing all the buttons is very fun, and it's very satisfying just seeing these balloons get stopped. So I hope you win with this, and good luck and bye.